In Wisdom of Thoth, Volume 2, we continue with quotations from the entity Thoth in my communications with him since the 1970s. These are a combination of a lot of different things he said, short excerpts, and some of them are preceded by questions. Most, if not all, of the questions in this particular video were asked by others, not myself. I had a section in the New Miss Ohm online magazine back in the early 2000s where people could ask questions. A few of you who are listening to my videos in this current time were the ones asking in those days, so you might recognize some of these questions. We begin, however, with a web quote about Vivaxis. That's Vivaxis. This is a term used by Frances Nixon, and she writes, now this is a quote, "The radiation energies of Earth form a massive network of energy waves traveling in both horizontal and vertical directions. When a fetus is subjected to these energy waves or currents, it pulls the horizontal and vertical energies into a common axis or point. The fetus then becomes magnetized to that exact geophysical point, and a permanent magnetic pattern or alignment is introduced into the atomic structure of the bones as they solidify. It is thought that the baby's vivaxis is generally created about the time of the mother's first labor pains and is approximately the size of the fetus just prior to birth. This same dynamic is replayed throughout all creation." Now that's the end of the quote. So I asked Thoth about this years ago, and he stated, "The vivaxis is the point where the child in the womb receives its polarity orientation with its birth world. The Sia axis, that's Siaxis, is the cutting of the umbilical cord when the child initiates its separation from the mother. The inaxis, that's Inaxis, is the severance of the astral body cord at death, and the chronos is the energetic of the body remains returned to the earth." And now we're going to be talking about the Zuvuya, that is Zuvuya, and I'm quoting here from Aluna Joy. She states, "The Zuvuya is a Mayan term that explains the concept that the universe operates with simultaneous dualistic cycles. What has begun returns to itself based on varying sizes of cycles. In Mayan understanding, everything operates with duality: light and dark, up and down, right and wrong, positive and negative, north, south, clockwise and counterclockwise, etc. This Mayan wisdom is reflected in two synchronistic simultaneous Hab cycles, that's Haab, a kind of Mayan Zuvuya calendar, which also operates with duality. While living on planet Earth, we are affected by these two mirroring Hab cycles. One is based north of the equator and the other south. You can plainly see this idea in action when you let the water out of a sink. In the northern hemisphere, it drains spiraling counterclockwise, but south of the equator, it drains in a clockwise direction." Now that's the end of the quote by Luna Joy. Thoth states, "Through the laws of quantum physics, the Zuvuya allows the creation of a specific kind of wormhole to be created by the traveler, or rather observer, at the points where the traveler wishes to determine access. It is a very real condition of quantum dynamics. These can be very small wormholes. Size is only a matter of rearranging molecules and atoms. It is easily accomplished once one enters the more expanded conditions of quantum beingness. The solar plexus is the point in the body that accesses the crosshairs of the Zuvuya. One must make contact with these crosshairs in order to enter the field, or rather realize the field of which they are one within. Question: what is DNA according to a multidimensional view? Thoth: it is the encoding light passing through the filaments of a universal membrane composed of muon particles aligned in the helix symmetry of DNA. Muons create specific spatial parameters for the encoded light to send its message into matter. Question: if there are multiple realities, how can civilizations in other dimensions be sure of their true reality and history? Are there many futures, and maybe New Earth Star is just one of those futures? What can Thoth tell us about the other futures for mankind? His reply is, there are always multiple realities, wherever there are souls to observe them. After Atlantis, very specific major zones came together as one. Not all the multiples, only specific ones related to the creational flow of the planetary grid. There is no absolute in the universe. This is the stumbling block of scientists and most people on Earth. They cannot seem to accept this, or for the most part, to even grasp the concept. However, more and more, scientists are now embracing the edges of this truth in their awakening to quantum mechanics. Individuality has its place. It will transform, though, into a new paradigm of experience. The individualness of being will then take on new meaning. The term God is often a useful concept to help humanity understand the totality, the love, the perfection of the all which they are a part. This all is constantly revealing new aspects of being as the parts of the whole are quickening within it. From this perspective, God awakens in increments as we call upon that need to expand in awareness. I'd like to pause here and speak about this for a moment. What he's saying, what I believe he's saying, is that God is in an evolutionary process as well. Now, he quibbles with the word evolution because he says we don't really understand what that means, but I'm not going to go into that here. Let's just say there is an evolving process of awareness between us and God in us. God in us, not God and us. So God in us and us in God is always evolving or changing in dimension, in a progressive way, in a deeper and deeper context. I just created a video in which the Antichrist and the Archangel stone are spoken about from the Thothic perspective. However, I missed these parts that I found later, and I'd like to include them here because I believe they're very potent. So here we go. Thoth speaks about the Antichrist, saying, the Antichrist is an energy presence that operates on the planet through an individual in certain eras as a focal point for the imbalances of all humans on the planet. That individual is a vessel for all the misalignments that have come to a boiling point and thus need an avenue of release. As the Antichrist personage, he or she is always in a prominent role in the world to stir the pot, and thus humanity must deal with these issues instead of blindly ignoring them. And then he speaks about the Hopi city of the Red Star. It has been sealed away since the Kachina left it, although it has been visited by one since that day, the Christed man, Jesus or Yeshua, when he walked the Americas after his resurrection and went into the underground portion of the ceremonial level to receive a crystal waiting for him there. Yet he walked through the sealed door. The man Jesus had a purposeful link to the Hopi. Before his incarnation into the body of Jesus, who was to merge with the Christ in that lifetime, one of his incarnations had been among the Hopi. Thus he returned to be among them briefly during his time with the peoples of the Americas. As to the crystal left for him in the deserted city, that is a story which all the parts cannot be told at this time. It can be said that it was brought down into elementation. It is the Archangel stone. In the future, this crystal will play an essential role in the struggle of good and evil above and on the earth, for it will be desired by Lucifer's fallen as a means to capture the light of the world. Yet it is the very crowning gem, in essence, forsaken by Lucifer, that is integrated within the supreme Archangel, known to us as the Christ. The Archangel crystal stone, while being outpictured in a physical crystal, is in actuality a crystalline DNA key or code that opens the pathways in the human energy bodies to the development of the Christic body or pure gem. The Archangel stone, which was brought to earth by the Lord Melchizedek, has been embodied in various crystal forms in the ancient days on earth. Every soul is a balancer of the universe. They each contain an aspect of the key of the illusion of separation and the unity of the all. As they move toward the center of their being through spiritual process and expanded awareness, so this role is more evident to them. Yet as incarnated individuals, each person is unique in just how they choose to outpicture that role. Humans in this current earth are opening to greater fields of knowledge through the natural process of planetary transformation. However, knowledge is not wisdom, and the latter is also being developed, yet at a slower pace, for one must go deeper to receive wisdom than knowledge. Thus there will be certain convolutions and malalignments in the process of wedding knowledge with wisdom within science, as science develops rapidly, being drawn into focus by the urgency of the new earth field building and connecting with the old. A question: what do the souls that gather as a soul family have in common between them, especially those that are actively present in the actual evolutionary process leading to the ascension of the planet to a higher octave of vibration? Thoth replies, they share a common thread of purpose and an alpha and omega point. See this purpose as a string stretched between the beginning and the end of a specific process. With soul families, the process is their creation as souls beginning and their assimilation back into the one end. Of course, there is no actual end, but he's putting this in a metaphorical context. Question: do all the souls of one family need to be incarnated to develop their function? Thoth responds, no, they do not. Remember, soul families nest in Merkabas, one inside the other, each one on a different vibrational level. Even within that one level, there are sub-levels. So all souls in a complete family are not all needing to incarnate to fulfill their purpose. There are souls who have incarnated in genetics which exemplify specific key planetary soul races. When these souls are quickened via the midden chamber, they will then become a biotransmitter for the codes of quickening to be broadcast into the race spirits of the soul races on the planet which they embody. This mass quickening will then further release the redemptive codes of many other souls incarnated upon the earth. However, some of these souls will not respond to this calling because either their systems will be shut down to the Adam Kadmon vibration within their DNA due to excessive denial of spirit, or their DNA will have become too contaminated to receive the signal. Now I want to discuss this for a moment. First of all, the midden chamber is a whole other topic. It is exemplified within the Great Pyramid, but it's beyond a physical object. So I'm just not going to go there. But also to say that when he's speaking about the DNA will have become contaminated, this is not saying, well, some poor unsuspecting person ate the wrong box of cereal and so they have a contaminated DNA. No, this is following a process of awareness, soul awareness. And soul awareness makes choices for themselves. And it's not just one little thing. It's a period of time, a development in paragenetics and consciousness and so many things that contribute to it, that contaminate the DNA over lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. And these are made through the choices of the soul. Thoth speaks on the electromagnetic zones, saying that they are vibrational in nature and not associated with specific physical places. The inner earth has several different electromagnetic zones due to the vibrational essence of its inhabitants. There are areas on and in the planet that have doorways through which one may access specific zones more easily. Souls moving into the Numus Om, or first stage of the new Earth star, will be able to choose their beginning point in that reality. This will include their appearance to whatever they wish. In the new Earth of Numus Om, electromagnetic zones are not as fractured as they are here. They blend more in a dancing continuum rather than being so distinctly separate as they are in the current or old Earth. For instance, upon arriving in Numus Om, you may be greeted first by your grandmother from the old Earth, who appears as you feel most comfortable with her. Then, as you become more open, she will begin to change in appearance and reveal herself to you as she currently wishes to be seen. Before the Kali Rift, humanity was able to shift attention more easily from one zone to another, and to certainly be aware that they existed in these other zones. World System 2 planets live within the torus. Thus do their inhabitants. There are some individuals who have incarnated in World System 1 planets, like the current Earth, who are able to exist in the torus due to the fact that they have such oneness with their magna or oversoul, that their main center of gravity is in a Taurian world system. I'm going to conclude Volume 2 here, but we will be continuing with Volume 3.